quite a healthy sailing scene.
Yeah, it was different. What do you think it was?
Yeah, so two of the scientists on the Viking program, Dr. Tim Much, who is a geologist from Brown University, and Dr. Carl Sagan, who's an astronomer at Cornell University, they came up with the idea of inviting a bunch of undergraduate science students to come to JPL for 1 month during the Viking mission. So they put out a call for applications, which I came across in the hall of my physics department at Rice University in Houston. And it said, apply to join the Viking project in the summer of '76. So they apparently got about 600 applications, and they chose about 60 people, and I was fortunate to be one of those. I was a college student at Rice University at the time. And they assigned us to each of 4 groups, June, July, August, and September. And I was elated when I got my acceptance because it said I would be in the July group, and the first Viking landing was scheduled for July 4th of that year. So I realized I would be at the Jet Propulsion Lab for the landing. So what was great was that they invited us to come out. They paid for travel, paid for housing, put us up at a local college, and then every day we went to JPL, and we were given essentially an all-access pass. We had badges that let us go anywhere, anytime. So we could go to mission control, we could sit in on team meetings, we were there for things like decisions of where to land and when to land. And Carl Sagan and Tim Much were our hosts, basically. So that was really exciting because we got to meet Carl Sagan, who, although not yet a household name because he hadn't done Cosmos, was quite well known, quite a celebrity. And it was a great experience. Well, I knew from a fairly young age that I was interested in science and space. And one reason I went to Rice University in Houston was because it was in Houston, near the Space Center. This was shortly after the Apollo landings. So it was a very exciting place to be. And the Viking project and my involvement in it made a huge difference in my career. I mean, it literally made the difference between what I might have done and what I ended up doing, because it was through connections I made during that summer that I got a job that ultimately led me to spend 22 years as an astronomy journalist at Sky and Telescope magazine. And I've been, in the field ever since. And I still am in touch with people that I knew from that. So even something as simple as a 1-month internship with an interesting project, can essentially decide the direction of your entire career. But it was the excitement of being right there among the team members, able to participate actively in this very exciting mission, first landing on Mars, that really made it possible for me to feel like, I can be a scientist.
Absolutely, yeah.
We put together what was called an engineering breadboard, which ended up at MIT, okay? But it was a breadboard of the instrument where components were laid out linearly, okay? And I'll never forget, we put all the components together on the breadboard, and we're going to power up for a full-scale system test, okay? And so I didn't invite him, but one of the big managers at Lytton dragged in a bunch more bigwigs, and they all come in, and we're going to watch the GCMS, here's going to be the full-scale system test. Cranked it up, turned it on, put a sample into it, the valve in front of the mass spectrometer slammed shut, and it was over. And then when it came time for launch, we went to the Cape to watch the launch, okay? Well, there was no launch. Launch was delayed by a couple of weeks for both landers, for both spacecraft. The second launch, I don't know if you remember, somebody left a door open at the bottom of the launch tower, and all the gases from the rocket came through that door and destroyed a bunch of stuff. And they said if that had been spacecraft 1, there would have been no spacecraft 2 launch, because there was no way to put things back together quickly.
Ben will tell you more about this, but some hypotheses were supported, some were not, and some were just conflicted. You would have an instrument suite that would declare a discovery, and another instrument